So imagine you get laid off by your employer, then you're reinstated, only to be terminated once again. This has been happening a lot this year. I had a federal worker reach out to me personally yesterday, and I want to share his story just to show you how wild this roller coaster has been going this year. Do you remember the layoffs that happened during the government shutdown? It was over 4,000 from 8 different federal agencies. This was part of a move by the administration to punish the Democrats for not going along with the continuing resolution. Well, what happened is once they got everybody at the table and they came up with an agreement, they did the continuing resolution. In that document, it protected federal workers. So essentially, agencies had to rescind those RIF notices, the reduction in force. The layoffs were not going to happen. Now, if you look over at SBA, which is the Small Business Administration, they pushed out RIF notices, which are layoff notices, to 77 workers. They did this on September 29th, 2 days before the government shut down. So what they did, for some reason, they rescinded those layoffs. Now, those layoffs originated in the springtime, so around April. The whole process dragged on for months and months. So ultimately, you had SBA communicating with their workers saying, listen, do you want to come back to the agency? We'd love to have you back. Do you want to come back? You can either select yes, or you can resign or decide to retire if you are eligible. So this man that reached out to me, he was having a rough time looking for another job because he had been searching since the spring. The bills are piling up. The stress is increasing. What is he going to do? You've probably been in that situation. So he looked at this message as a glimmer of good news. I get to keep my job, restore pay, maybe have some semblance of stability moving forward. This is the email he received from one of the leaders at SBA. It starts off with, "It is my pleasure and honor to welcome you back to work." I'm sure that exclamation mark at the end of that statement, that's there to convey the excitement. We're so excited, full of joy to have you rejoin the agency so you can help us with our mission. We get to retain some of that institutional knowledge. Okay, so the email continues. It says, let's plan to meet over Teams tomorrow. HR and IT are all working to get you up and running ASAP. That looks pretty good, right? Looks pretty good to me. He probably thought most of his worries were behind him. He's a shoo-in. He's going to get his old position back. He doesn't have to scramble to figure out another job. But he would be wrong, and I would be wrong if I'm reading this, because 24 hours later, HR from SBA, they send out another notice. And this notice basically reverts back to the original layoff notice. Take a look at this. This says, the RIF notice and termination affecting your position remains in effect. That looks like a computer spit out some generic language, some copy and paste language. Now, no competent agency would send a formal reinstatement letter and then turn around the very next day and revoke it. The agency, in my opinion, is interpreting the CR, the continuing resolution, in the most aggressive way possible. 2 days. That's what it comes down to. 2 days from September 29th to October 1st. Because those 2 days exist, they're realizing now, well, wait a minute. This isn't part of the CR. We don't have to do this. And if we don't have to do it, we rather just cut these workers. Which, okay, that's your decision. But why on earth would you actually send the reinstatement letter? Did nobody catch it? It doesn't seem like something an agency would do. It seems like they would be like checks and balances, checks and balances. Somehow, some way, somebody should have caught this. Because this isn't just one individual. There's 77 people at least that have been impacted by this. So you're taking 77 lives and you're spinning them around in 24 hours. You're changing your mind. You're jerking these people around, essentially, is what you're doing. So these individuals, they got together, they said, okay, we're going to contact our union representative and they're going to file a grievance. But what does that mean? I mean, in the near term, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything for this year. Probably not anything for next year. And in the meanwhile, SBA is steadily cutting its agency to levels that haven't been seen in quite some time. They have cut their workforce by 43%. And unfortunately, this is not an isolated incident. It's part of a wave of RIF uncertainty. It hits all kinds of agencies. We saw it in HHS time and time again. We saw it in GSA, reversing rescissions. When you do that, it's worth saying time and time again, right? It erodes trust. It erodes confidence. You cannot, as the OPM director, question during interviews like, hey, why are we not getting the talent that we need? That can't come out of your mouth. This is why you can't get the talent that you need. Stories like this, people hear about it. It's not a one-off. It's not something that, just so happens every now and again. This is becoming a pattern with a lot of federal agencies within the federal government. So when you have people leaving university or leaving the military and they do not decide or do not choose to submit an application on usajobs.gov to apply to your agency, this is exactly why. And it never had to happen. It didn't have to happen this way if you have competent leaders that put together a framework to ensure that the communication going out from leadership, from management, from HR even, is double-checked, is the right message to send. Before it goes out, you can alleviate so much pain. Well, if the goal is to create pain, then you're on the right track. But what happens if you're the individual affected by something like this? You feel hopeless, right? There's only so much that you can do. Is this incident going to disappear like the dozens of other incidents that are very similar to this? Is it just going to go away? What can you do? What can we do? You can always, file an appeal with MSPB. You can look at OSC, Office of Special Counsel. You can also contact your Congress representative, your congressional representative, your senator. Now, most times when people do this, they feel like nothing happens. But even if your message is not read, it shows up as a number. So we've received X amount of complaints. That could be 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. We received a certain number of complaints. I think it's worth doing. Now, in addition to this, there are a lot of federal agencies in the government. There's hundreds of them. Some of them people love, others people hate. They can't stand them. Just to hear the agency's name brings them to the point of anxiety and hatred. If you want to know what that list is, you probably want to know if you ever think about applying to a government job, you should know, hey, is your organization respected? Is it loved? Is it hated? Or do people just tolerate it? If you want to know more about that, I want you to check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.